And we're back. Hello everyone, it's me, Mark Jeffries, and you are in luck. In this episode of LBTV, we're going to discuss how VMware Horizon customers can now deliver virtual desktops and apps in record time with the help of the VMware NSX Advanced Load Balancer by Avi Networks across single or multiple sites while simplifying their operations. I want you to have a few aha moments during this episode and walk away with the realization that with Avi, you can simplify your infrastructure and operations to deliver virtual desktops and apps, troubleshoot end-user experience issues with point-and-click simplicity, eliminate costly over-provisioning of load balancers and save costs for VDI deployments, deploy load balancing consistently for virtual desktops in any cloud environment. In this episode, we'll be picking the brains of two of the best that VMware has to offer, Mitali Chola and Abhinav Modi.
I have been in this load balancing and CDN domain since forever now. So from last 8 years, I have been working on load balancers, security, and CDNs, and I love everything about it. There is no one reason. So yeah, I think this is my thing. That's why I'm here.
So I've been with the load balancing space since I joined Avi in 2016. But I've been with the networking space for much more than that. What's exciting about this space with load balancing is it has been the last one to party, and especially thanks to Avi in terms of being able to actually get distributed. But there are so many other requirements. There is so much happening in this space that it's always a new system or a new solution to work for.
So let's jump into it. This past year has fundamentally changed the way we work, how IT delivers its services, and how infrastructure needs to support remote working. VMware Horizon has delivered the Anywhere workspace to customers, and load balancing is a critical piece of infrastructure for this. Abhinav is going to dig a little deeper and explain why customers should consider using Avi.
So customers have been using Horizon for VDI for a while. They've been using appliances and legacy load balancing systems along with Horizon. Avi provides a much more modern approach to load balancing in general and for Horizon specifically. With Avi, what you get is a distributed architecture with a control plane and a data plane separated out. The benefits for Horizon being it can be active architecture, so you don't have to waste capacity in standby. It is much more easier to set up and deploy. So you deploy the control plane once, and then you're able to deploy the data plane as and when you require it. So if you're adding more capacity, more number of users into Horizon, you can just increase the load balancing capacity as well. And in addition, the automation and the REST-based API approach ensures that you have all the operational data which is required to be able to configure and manage these systems.
Switching to Avi isn't a lateral move, it's actually an upgrade over traditional load balancers. Avi provides you with the toolbox that you need to do what you do in the best possible way from wherever you are.
Using Avi for Horizon is going to be an upgrade for customers who are already using Horizon or planning to start with it. Avi and Horizon are a better together story. We're working very closely internally to align ourselves to provide many more interesting technologies as well as enhancements. The key aspects which we're trying to work on are, apart from support for all the ecosystems where Horizon plays, for example, on-premises, Horizon Cloud on Azure, VMC on AWS, Azure VMware Solutions. We're also working on features such as better analytics, better visibility, and troubleshooting to be able to better manage that Horizon infrastructure.
Yes, the holy grail of analytics. Now, let's hear from Mitali about why analytics are the hottest commodity around.
Analytics is more important because it is important for everyone to know what is going on in their environment, in their network. So earlier, there were challenges with the traditional devices that those were black boxes. There was nothing much information out there that could be leveraged to find out what is going on in the network, what is going on in the environment. And if there is any issue, it used to be very difficult to troubleshoot. So they have to take TCP dumps, Wireshark captures, and multiple hops to find out a simple issue. Let's take a simple example, and then I can tell you how Avi is helping in that aspect. So one of the common issues that we have in network is the latency, and that latency could be anywhere. It could be from your application side, where your application is taking a long time to respond, or it could be something on the client side, or it could be something within your network. And when such type of issue comes in, then many teams get involved. They work together. They take logs on every hop and every devices, and then try to find out the solution. And most of the time, we end up blaming the network. But it's not always the network issues. It could be app issue, or it could be client issue. So it's very difficult to pinpoint such issues without analytics, without the visibility. And I think that's what the biggest pain point that we have heard from our customer, that they were missing such kind of information from their old devices.
Well, most load balancers claim analytics. What, though, makes the analytics from Avi so different and causes customers to upgrade? Let's turn to Abhinav for his perspective.
One of the key appreciations which we get, whenever we do a demo, for example, for Avi, is the analytics. The reason for that is, although the data has always been there, the load balancers are sitting in the middle of the network. It's seeing all the views from the client side as well as the server side. Nobody has, prior to Avi, been able to present that information in a nice, usable way and an actionable way to the customers or to the users. So with Avi, what we have done is we have built out a system where all this data which is going through the your applications is available in a variety of ways. First, we have metrics which aggregate data, for example, the end-to-end latency, the client-side latency, things like that, the throughput which your applications are using. In addition, we have much more granular per request logs with which you can very easily figure out what's happening, where your customers are coming from, where the users are coming from, what is happening with the traffic, what are the errors. So this provides customers, the operating teams, as well as the application teams with a lot of actionable items to be able to troubleshoot as well as plan their capacity. This has been very useful and something which should have obviously been there, but it's something which Avi, was one of the pioneers in providing along with the entire package for free.
So having these analytics is a huge win, but what are some of the other standout services that Avi can provide?
GSLB, which is Global Server Load Balancing. And because of this pandemic, and otherwise also because all the, this business continuity, disaster recovery, these things have become important more than ever. And because of this reason, customers have started deploying their infrastructure in more than one regions, in more than one data centers. So if one goes down, there's always backup. There's always, redundancy. So this makes Avi GSLB all the way more important. Customers can leverage Avi GSLB. They can distribute the load across different data centers. So that is one. And then we have a lot of security offerings. So if some customers want to have, say, authentication based on SAML or based on JSON Web Token, then they can use Avi authorization and authentication capabilities. Then we do have other security offerings like DDoS. So if there are volumetric attacks that's targeting your organization, then you can leverage Avi DDoS mechanism to prevent that. We do have other stuff like you can have a web application firewall where we do the deep packet inspection of the traffic. Then we have integration with OpSWAT, where we can analyze your traffic, we can sanitize your content and look for any malware if that content has. If there is any malware, then we sanitize it and send it back to the server. So all these security offerings are very much available with the same SKU that can be used.
And the features are constantly evolving with new updates and upgrades constantly rolling out.
If we talk about security in particular, then it's growing like anything. So it is there, and it is evolving every day. The web attackers, they are becoming more sophisticated. There have been many new vulnerabilities out there. So because of all these reasons, it is more important, is very important for a company like us to be updated, to be there with the new features so that we can fight against these new vulnerabilities and new attacks. Um, Keeping these things in mind, we always try to add new features. Our teams are actively working on enhancing our security offerings so that we can be ready for the new security threats that society is going to face.
All right, we know what using Avi can do for you. Let's now hear some case studies so we can learn about Avi in real-world usage scenarios.
As we got acquired, we did have quite a few interesting use cases where we were able to provide the value for Avi with Horizon. One of the first ones I would like to talk about is the VMware IT team. IT team. With VMware IT, after we got acquired in July 2019, VMware made a couple of more large acquisitions. When their teams were being assimilated into VMware, there was a requirement to quickly provide them with access to VMware networks, and VDI was the best way to go. Rather than get those two teams to, create separate systems, provide get load balancers procured, we were able to use Avi in VMC on AWS with Horizon. So with that, in a matter of a couple of weekends, we got access to around 1,000 users on the acquired company, be able to access VMware resources thanks to the VMC on AWS technology, along with Horizon and Avi. The other couple of case studies we have are also similar, and they were prodded along due to the pandemic situation. One of them was the emergency health services or the city administration systems in the US for one of these state counties. In that case, once the pandemic response was starting, the requirement was to turn around and get the city workers to be able to work from home in a matter of practically a weekend. So with Avi, they were able to set up these systems over a matter of just a weekend and be able to access their Horizon desktops from home pretty quickly. The third one I'd like to talk about are large retail companies, which have been also working to go through and transition to a more flexible mode of work, given the future of work. So these large retail companies with thousands of branch offices or retail locations had a requirement to be able to get their workers on VDI. So we have been working with them closely to be able to provide them with an architecture which is multi-site, multiple locations, and they have the resiliency required for Horizon along with Avi.
And while the user benefits are clear, the architecture and ease of use are also massive advantages worth discussing as well.
Avi's architecture is quite different compared to the existing appliance-based architectures which you typically see in the market. Those have been around for 15, 20 years, while Avi is a much more modern take on load balancing. What we've tried to do is ensure that the distributed approach, which is there for, let's say, a compute for storage, is added to is available for the load balancing space as well. So what we have is a control plane, which is the Avi controller, which can be deployed either in your premises, in public cloud, or it's also available as a SaaS service. That control plane will connect into your data center and be able to spin up the data plane load balancing capacity, which we call service engines. For that, all the management of the life cycle of the load balancing estate is automated by the control plane and available as a fabric instead of having to manage them separately as load balancing pairs. Along with that, we have a much more modern REST-based native API support for driving this system through automation, through CI/CD pipelines, or through DevOps-based systems. We also have a great UI to be able to provide an application-centric view so that your uh, application owners or the Horizon administrators in this case can look at what exactly is going on in their applications.
Now, this is only the beginning. If you're intrigued and want to learn more, VMware has plenty of resources available so you can dig deeper and become an expert like Abhinav and Mitali.
We have quite a few resources available if you want to learn more about Avi in general or Avi with Horizon for VDI. The first space is going to be the avinetworks.com website. So please feel free to go there. We have training sessions regularly scheduled in all geographies. So you can sign up for one of those. In addition, we have other resources, for example, hands-on labs available, which you could go through. And finally, you do have your VMware/Avi representatives, whom you can talk to for any demo requirements or to talk more, no more.
Like Abhinav said, the best next step to learn more is to sign up for a workshop at rvnetworks.com/workshops. I hope you're walking away from this episode of LBTV ready to change the way you work from anywhere. I'm Mark Jeffries, and I'll see you on the next episode of LBTV.